Welcome to the Dark Ozarks. We are discussing medicinal and healing plants and related concepts. Medicinal plants sound like a straightforward topic, but is it?
There's a lot more to that than just gathering wild plants or even cultivating a healing garden. These are traditions that go back to a very old world that are oftentimes adjusted out of necessity here in the Ozarks.
We'll get back to healing plants, but first we want to invite you to like, follow, and subscribe to Dark Ozarks on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as your favorite podcast platform. We also invite you to become a Dark Ozarks subscriber on Facebook. On the Dark Ozarks Facebook page, click subscribe, have your login information ready, and join Dark Ozarks behind the scenes for only $4.99 per month.
Your $4.99 per month subscription allows you to come with us on paranormal investigations, deep dive research, and topics too controversial for public view. The next 100 subscribers will be entered in a drawing for a free Dark Ozarks t-shirt and an exclusive signed first-run copy of the book Dark Ozarks: The Spook Light. Subscribe today to be entered in the drawing, and now you can also get Dark Ozarks t-shirts for sale at darkozarks.com and paranormalsciencelab.com.
Thank you to State of the Ozarks online magazine, dedicated to preserving and celebrating Ozarks culture since 2007. Free access to hundreds of articles. Find more information about State of the Ozarks events, and be sure to sign up for the State of the Ozarks Weekly, delivered free to your inbox every Sunday night, featuring new writings and a down-home Ozark recipe in every issue.
Mark your calendars for upcoming live events, including our first Dark Ozarks Live at the Fox in Springfield, Missouri on December 13th. Meet Dark Ozarks producers Lisa and Josh for evenings of history, legends, and the paranormal, and even visit some of the most haunted locations in the Ozarks. Details on the Dark Ozarks Facebook page, and visit paranormalsciencelab.com for tickets and more information.
We encourage you to check out Always Buying Books in Joplin, Missouri, in person and online, on Facebook and at the website alwaysbuyingbooks.com for all of your reading needs, including a large section on the paranormal, history, and more. Not to mention the building is haunted. Tell Bob and Elise that we sent you.
We also want to thank Beard Engine Brewing Company in Alba, Missouri. Beard Engine Brewing is the only English-style brewery in Missouri and has been twice named Missouri's best brewery by the Missouri Brewers Association. Great beer and great food in a historical building with a noir past. And yes, their building is also haunted. Tell Nate and Tiff that we sent you.
So, medicinal plants, but then we're talking about folklore and other things.
It is a very complicated subject, and it's complicated both in the past as well as in the comparative present. And by comparative present, I mean like 100 years ago in the 1920s. But it is uniquely complicated. Our healing plant traditions do obviously have an aspect of folk medicine. They always have, they always will, I hope anyway. But they are coming from a wide variety of traditions that are as varied and diverse as the wide variety of peoples who came into the Ozarks. We're talking about European settlement of the Scots-Irish, the French, the English, the Irish, and the Germans. Then we are also talking about influences of a variety of Native American peoples and tribes, although predominantly but not limited to the Cherokee, the Osage, and the Delaware. And then also including African American peoples that are coming from, it might seem simple enough that they were enslaved and brought over from West Africa. But these were peoples that were not all brought from the same place. They did not all originate from the same place. They did not all share common linguistic structures. They did not all share common religion. And what is classified as West African animism is an extremely complex and fascinating and revered religious structure that goes back thousands of years. And then, as if that weren't complicated enough, you had very people being brought over to the Atlantic seaboard, and then ultimately making their way, as did many others from the eastern seaboard, inland. At the same time, you also have a southern influence, and that southern influence is more related to New Orleans and blues culture and the Mississippi Delta. And this is not only complex in the fact that you have different Native American groups and different European groups intermixing and intermingling their lore and folk culture with quote unquote, well, technically with creating Creole culture, but you also have the fact that a lot of our African American population coming there did not obviously come straight from West Africa to the Atlantic seaboard. They were brought to Santo Domingo and Haiti, where, of course, is the birthplace of voodoo as a religion, and then that influence coming to New Orleans along with all of its conjure. So there's and it's important to really take into consideration through the riverways in particular, not exclusively, but the fact that the Ozarks are surprisingly well connected all the way back to the beginning in terms of U.S. history with New Orleans.
Very much so. So you had all of these people coming in from the South and the Middle South, and even a few Yankees coming in, and it all affected each other, and so we end up with a very unique set of practices. And then on top of it, you have all these groups who are bringing their traditions, and then suddenly they are in an area where they don't have all the plants that they're used to, or that the traditions were built on. So creativity and necessity meant change and adaptation to what was here.
And what was here in some cases was very similar, in some cases was very, very different. And the newcomers definitely relied in many cases on communication with Native Americans, tribal or people groups to communicate and to share and to cross-platform that information. And it created something that it's an undercurrent and has always been an undercurrent. Folk medicine and folk magic has always existed almost within a subculture status, and it still does.
Mm-hmm. It does. And then you get thrown in through time allegations of witchcraft on top of that make it an even more complex situation, particularly for people practicing. And so they often are informed from societal pressures for and against folk magic, folk medicine, folklore, and basically it's one big cauldron and being stirred, and makes it quite interesting. So we have a lot to talk about in our long format, which will be up later on YouTube for you to check out, and we encourage you to do so. And in between, don't forget to check out upcoming events and merchandise at darkozarts.com and paranormalsciencelab.com. Thank you again to Always Buying Books, Beard Engine Brewing Company, and Stay the Ozarks for helping to bring the Dark Ozarks to everyone.
On the next episode, we are going to be discussing even more dark and weird tales from the Eastern Ozarks. Catch the Dark Ozarks podcast on Branson Podcast Network, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or about any other podcast platform. Thank you.